Okay, welcome back everybody. This is Mog on Mog Squad playing some more Kerbal Space Program with you guys today. And as you can see, we are, well, you may not be familiar with the ship actually. This is my low Kerbal orbit refueler, basically. I can refuel ships with a decent amount of fuel up in a fairly low orbit around Kerbal. I have a little treat we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going up toward Jewel again, to the station we've got there, and we're going to be actually bringing up a new module. We're going to be expanding that space station out quite a bit. It's going to be a big jump, but I do need to refuel the interplanetary stage on its current its stage. Anyway, let's go ahead and get going, and I'll meet you guys back up there once we get up a little ways here. We'll drop the first tanks and go from there. But 3, 2, 1, here comes the launch noise. So there we are, separating from our clamps and starting our ascent. Now, as you can see, this is actually a really tall launch stage for me, but that's because the final portion of it is a much shorter stack. I basically do everything I can to keep this tank, the center tank, the orange one, as full as possible for once we get up into orbit. I can actually maneuver around with RCS for the most part, as long as we're not going too crazy. But yeah, shouldn't be half bad. I'm going to slow us down a little bit because we're getting pretty close to our terminal velocity there, and I'm going to start tilting over just a hair so that we don't drop tanks on the space center. It's a good habit to be in because I'm sure it's going to matter sooner or later. So we're about almost 3,000 meters up so far, and just about ready to drop our first tanks. And there they go. And with that, guys, I'm going to come back to you guys as we get closer in toward our rendezvous with the orbital, or with the the other ship. We'll see you soon. Alright, guys, so we are back. We're just about ready to actually get all docked here and get this piece refueled. And if you'll notice in the capsule here, we've actually got Okabe. So if you're watching, thanks for being a subscriber. I appreciate it, and thanks for, of course, commenting and all that. And you've got your Kerbal in here, and he's going to be commanding this vessel on the way out to where we're going. So he's going to be the new commanding officer of this station. So grats to you. We've also got Lubert Kerman on here and Patrod Kerman on here as well. So those are going to be our pilots for this mission this time. Now, can we get all docked? We're just about ready to pull in here with the magnet, and then we're going to get this thing fueled, and then we're going to be good to go. There it is, and we bounced and connected. So cool, I'm going to get this thing all refueled, and come back to you guys as we start our burn out toward Jewel. Alright everybody, so we've got our node set up, heading out toward Jewel. I've actually got it on an encounter with Jewel from this normal Kerbal orbit, which is ridiculous to me, but just seems totally out of the ordinary. But I think we're going to be able to do this, so we got more than enough fuel on this stage, especially with Jewel being able to aerobrake through their atmosphere. This shouldn't be a problem to actually make this happen. So, starting our burn, hopefully, with this low of an atmosphere, or this low of an orbit, we shouldn't hit Kerbal's atmosphere before actually breaking out into orbit is the hope. So, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of physical time warp here, get this moving, so that, we don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to come back to you guys as we get closer out toward Jewel. So we'll see you guys soon. Okay, everybody, so we're coming in here toward Jewel, just about ready to get our encounter, and should be here any second. There it is. And if you're noticing here toward the end of our encounter, we're actually getting an encounter with Tylo, which is fairly usual. It seems we're coming in over here, which means we're gonna have to correct a little bit because we don't have we got a decent amount of fuel, but we don't have enough to actually do a capture on burn alone. So we're going to have to rely on an aerobrake in Jewel's atmosphere. So I'm going to be dropping us into about a 125 kilometer above the surface orbit for that, and hopefully that'll do the trick for us. It's going to take a little bit of fuel to redirect ourselves, but I think we can get this done. Come on. I always thought it was kind of annoying how this is always a little odd to get a node out here on Jewel when we're so far out. Anyway, we're going to get this all set up, and I'm going to come back to you guys once that is the case. Okay, everybody, so as you just noticed, we sort of had a freak out moment there, and the game sort of crashed. Turns out, I lost everything. My entire save game with 40 some odd plus flights that were in use gone totally corrupt. My video card driver crashed, and right at that exact moment, Kerbal Space Program decided it would go ahead and autosave, thusly corrupting my persistent file and my autosave file, or my quick save file. I checked them both. I made sure to double check. I even went back to see if I made a backup of it, and the most recent one was at the start of this season, which was a terrible mistake for me to have done. Anyway, I'm in the process of getting that corrected. I figured since it was a super short video, you guys didn't get to see much, I would make a quick recording here of a ship that I just threw together that I've been wanting to do again for a while now that I've got a little bit more experience with the Kerbal Space Program. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, burp there. My bad. But I have a little more experience with Kerbal Space Program now, and in particular making planes. You may recognize this design from the very first video I ever did. This is my take and my, hopefully, rocket slash airplane that is similar to the Sea Duck from the old cartoon show Tailspin. Anyway, I've got my able and probably terribly unwilling test pilot here, Roald Kerman, and he is going to be doing our flight on this one. The trick here is we're going to try to get this beast of a plane that I literally just threw together over the last 30 minutes from scratch. We're going to try to land this thing out on the airwave, the island airstrip. So testing my my flaps here and everything, and let's get this thing underway, shall we? Now I've flown this once before, but it was not to this stage of development yet. Oops, I gotta take off my bro. No! Oh no! Oh no! You know what? Let's go ahead and revert that to launch. Oh, good times. I tried to release the brake and I hit the gear button on my joystick. Oopsie daisy, my mistake. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get this going. We don't have to go through that whole spiel again at this point. I hope it just caught my commentary there. Whatevs. Okay. Starting this thing up. We don't have the brakes on this time, so this should take off without too much issue. Hopefully that does a trick. Mouse, get out of the way. Alright, now this thing is a little bit slow on its initial on its initial lift off, because it is pushing so much weight. It's only got 4 little turbojet engines on there, but look at that, it takes pretty much right off. And I'm gonna go ahead and put away, want to zoom out a bit, put away my landing gear, turn on my lights, and I'll give you guys a little bit better view of this. The one flight I did before, I hadn't reinforced the wings at all, so they literally flapped up into like a U shape. It was interesting to say the least. This time I've actually got some a ton of air jets set up. I didn't have air jets or ram intakes set up previously. What I did here was a little like radial, you know, radial descending along the if you talk from top to bottom. Anyway, along the fuel tanks here. Jeez, I can't even talk. My God. Anyway. It seems like we're actually gaining speed, going up very slowly, but hey, it's something, right? And I'm just going to set it here, see what happens. Oh, now we're losing speed. But is that going to correct itself? I guess we'll find out. We're up to just a hair under 2 kilometers into the atmosphere. I'm curious if I can get this thing up into an actual, like, orbit. Now, this may be quite early in speculation. This is a very heavy plane without a terrible amount of control, but I've done what I can to get this thing stabilized. I might need to actually put some more wings on this thing, or some more wings for lift, because if I actually want to get it up into orbit. But I mean, on the plus side, this thing is actually it's gaining speed on an upward trajectory, which is good, and it didn't take off. Well, it took off early before even hitting the end of the ramp, so or the end of the runway. So that's a decent improvement over some of my other craft in the past. We're up to about 4 kilometers up into the atmosphere now, and it's still gaining speed pretty good. I'm actually quite surprised. You guys are seeing the flight of this, well, mostly fleshed out project for the first time in actual flight. Like, the initial one was just testing overall structural stability and everything, so I'm actually kind of surprised at this. I'm gonna go ahead and do something though, just to test. This may end up terribly. You know what? I'll save that for my own stuff. Let's do what I promised here. Keep this short and sweet, and go in for an actual landing here at that strip if we can. Now, hopefully, I do have some decent control here. This thing is a little bit slow to respond because of its massive size and everything. But hey, I'm actually quite surprised with what this thing is capable of right now. I'm gonna turn off SAS. Maybe that's the reason why this thing is having some issues. Whoa, of course that does actually helps keep it stable too. But look at that. That's not half bad. With the avionics package on front, I can actually hold this thing relatively stably on a heading, which is kind of nice. But yeah, so I've got it set up. I actually do have a rocket engine on here too. In the meantime, I'm actually gonna fire it and see kind of how this. Never mind, I won't. Whoa, no, don't want to kill the engines. We'll kill that one. Apparently, it's not rigged up. I thought I had run my fuel tanks, which it's simply jet fuel in the center of this craft, which are piped out to the outside, and then the outside couple of tanks are a couple of the FL tanks there as well. I'm gonna zip around the side real quick here. A couple of these tanks are full of jet fuel and oxidizer, so liquid and oxidizer, which are meant for the center. Now the reason I have this kind of backwards with my rocket here and my jet fuel for these out here and rocket vice versa is I've got them piped so that hopefully it should transfer, but apparently I think this that I used, the tri-coupler that I used to actually realign that Rockomax Skipper tank there, that Skipper jet rocket engine, I actually used it because that body style doesn't have a very well centered connection point, so I couldn't really attach the rocket in a good way to keep. Oh no! Holy ballsies! Nope, nope, nope. It's toast. Okay, okay. Well, Roald, thank you for being a champ. Appreciates it. You're a champ. Okay. Let's give that another shot with maybe a different plane here. Okay. Now we're back on the runway. This is not the Sea Duck that I actually called the Sea Goose in the previous episode. Oh, jeez, I can't believe I'm doing this. Do I seriously? Am I just that terrible with clicking buttons? Anyway, trying to put on my brakes. Slow myself. And this is what I call the Aerojet. It's a tiny little single occupant jet that I made for in-atmosphere flight that was based around the Aero glider that I made. It's kind of got like the star wing pattern that I used in that build. And I was just messing around with this one, seeing if it's something I might be able to send out to like another atmospheric moon somewhere or another, like, well, not necessarily just moon. Eve, Duna. I highly doubt Duna would be able to be something you could fly something in unless it was super, super light. And or Lathe. Now, I wanted to do a manned one because I thought it'd be cool to actually get a manned glider up into another planet. Anyway, let's get this going. But yeah, this one was kind of based on that design. I built this one a little while back. It's been a smidge since I've actually flown this one, but as you can see, it's actually got a decent amount of capabilities. Whoa, whoa. Okay. I think I need to turn on precision controls. That was way too responsive. Way too responsive. My bad, guys. I am just ruining this episode left and right, aren't I? You know what? You're more than welcome to bitch at me about it in the comments. I do not mind. I'd appreciate the loves. But let's get this moving. And we're gonna go ahead. We've got that on. I'm gonna turn on SAS so it's even more stable. And we're just gonna take this thing off nice and slowly. Put away that gear. Turn on those lights so we actually have some decent you know, depth perception there. And check this thing out. This thing is zipping. We're already almost well, we're climbing up on 170 kilometers a second. And that was quick. And this is with precision controls and SAS on, by the way, guys. So you'll notice this thing does actually zip around quite a bit. Without precision controls and SAS on this thing with its avionics, I think this thing has avionics. Nope, doesn't have avionics. But without SAS, the pod-based SAS, and or you know, precision controls, this thing is a beast. Like it can zip. And as you'll notice, it does have the whole radial air intakes, the ram intakes that I've kind of set up. I like using this design where they're all kind of, their faces are exposed. It makes sense to me. I know that you don't have to do that and you can really abuse the system. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really like to do that if I can help it. So let's jump up to about a 45-degree angle and hold that for the moment and see how high we can get with this thing before we freak out. Because we're actually still gaining speed at this rate, at this angle. Wow, I'm surprised by that. Now I just need to build something with this kind of maneuverability and jets on it so I can take it into space. Now that's a bit trickier. Quit it. Why are you dipping like that? So we're still gaining speed. We're up to about 4 kilometers up. That's incredible. My God, I'm gonna take a look at this so I can kind of watch my air intake so I know when I'm gonna get a flame out. Now flame outs, I've gotten a little bit better at handling. They're not too tricky. We're gonna zip up to about a 60% climb or 60-degree climb and see how we can get this moving. But yeah, flame outs I've gotten a little bit better at handling. You just kill your engine. Just cut all engine throttle and just drop and get yourself back under control. If it's high enough, it shouldn't be a problem. Wow, we're up to 10 kilometers up and climbing. My gosh. And literally, we are just gaining speed so incredibly quickly. And that's going to help us maintain air intake because we're shooting through the air quicker. But we're going to get a flame out here probably when it gets down to, if you're watching up in the top right, once we get up to about 0.09, I want to say, is when we're going to get this flame out. But look at how high we are. 18 kilometers and climbing. 19. 20. Ooh, we're about to... Oh, 7? Yep, at 7. Between 7 and 6 is when we got our flame out. Now, it didn't throw us because we've only got 1 engine point. That got us up to an apoapse of 50 kilometers. Just going at a 60-degree climb. That's crazy, I think. That's nuts. I'm going to go ahead, physical time warp this thing just a little bit so we can just get through this. We're up 0% air intake because look at us in the atmosphere. We are not pulling anything here at all. And we're going to start dropping here rather quickly. I'm going to push us back down so that we hopefully stay kind of in line with our trajectory marker. So we're not going too crazy. And I'm hopefully going to keep this thing under control. I'm going to turn back on normal time warp here. Now we're going to be falling back into atmosphere for a little bit here. And probably at a pretty steep angle. The idea here with, I didn't even mention, we retired Roald Kerman, who piloted the Sea Goose. And we pulled out Sheprey, who's piloting this craft here. Sheprey is full courage, mostly, and pretty much full stupidity, so I figured he was a good choice. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to kind of watch. Look what I'm doing. Wow, we are super far away from, well, we're back into thicker atmosphere. I might be able to get, well, not yet. Nope, don't want to turn my jets on just yet. Actually, I probably could at this point. Yep, we've actually got some air intake, so that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, look at that! We got some re-entry effects on that alone. I don't want to turn that on because we need to get control first before we go zipping down that fast. We got some contrails there entering the thicker atmosphere. But I think we're going to be able to pull out of this. Shouldn't be a problem. We got enough maneuverability and it's got enough lift to it that I can correct these things pretty easily, and it's fairly responsive coming back in. We dropped down to about 4.5 kilometers above sea level before we were actually able to get decent control again. But I'm gonna zip back out to the island, and we're gonna land on the airstrip. I'm just gonna cut away because this is gonna be a little bit of a flight. All right, guys. So we're coming in here. I'm at about, I want to say, around 7,000, 8,000 meters up. Yeah, 8,000 meters up. And I went up here so I could get a little bit faster because it's a little easier to get faster up higher. So I'm curious. I think I'm gonna try to land this from cockpit view, and I'm gonna try to land it. Should I? The island one's really short. I think it would be easier to try to land on the longer runway from cockpit. I haven't flown from cockpit in a really long time. But you know what? We're gonna go ahead and try for the island one. I might as well. I just wish the cockpit here had better UI stuff so I could actually see like my my height and all that stuff easily. I mean, I know I can from those little gauges, but they're a pain to read when you're trying to do this kind of stuff. But we're going to try to... Whoa, that's kind of freaking out. We're going to try to actually land this thing all from cockpit here, out on the island, I do believe is going to be the trick here. Oh, this is going to be interesting, guys. I'm not going to lie. I am... Whoa! This is going to be tricky. So let's see. I'm glad that I've got my joystick set up so I can actually kind of like maneuver my camera around with the top hat. Makes flight like this kind of stuff much easier. You can kind of keep an eye on things. So as you can see, we're kind of watching that runway. I can kind of gauge everything else. I've still got my nav ball on the screen. I can kind of keep an eye on that. So we're coming in here. I think I'm going to try to start making this turn somewhat quickly, but I mean, we don't want to go too crazy. I'm going to turn down my throttle a little bit, recenter myself, kind of start rotating back around, turn back up throttle to stabilize ourselves and actually pick up a little bit of speed coming in here to do this. Okay. Now the thing I wish my zoom would work at this on the joystick for this thing, but I have to zoom by hand for in the cockpit. So I'm watching my radar altimeter there, the one on the top right here, so I can kind of keep an eye on that and kind of gauge where I am relative based on that, because it'll actually it zeroes out as you get below 2,000 kilometers. I'm gonna deploy my landing legs. Just gonna double check that. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna kill my throttle, and we're gonna kind of come in here. This is probably not going to end well. It's a very, very delicate craft to actually land, because the wings at the back are so incredibly close to the landing legs. Oh, jeez. I don't think... oh my god. Holy crap. Use my brakes. Oh my... Holy jeez, I can't believe I actually did that. That was a little stressful, guys. But thanks for watching. I'll actually try to get some of the stuff that we had up in this season replaced. I've got a few of them. I've got a new station up in Kerbal. I've got one around Juna, Eve, Moho. I'm working on the small one around Jewel. I don't really want to mess with that one because I don't want to put up like a bigger one, like was the intention for this episode early on, without showing you guys. At least maybe I'll put it up and then just kind of come back and be like, hey, this is what we were supposed to have done. In fact, I think I probably will, because I don't know, we're getting close to our, we're past halfway at this point on our season if I want to stick to the 25 episode season of KSP. I might change that. I might change that a little bit for the second season, because I do kind of want to have a little bit more fun. But anyway, guys, I'm hoping that the new update for KSP comes out soon, and we'll be able to kind of push on with that. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.